Hey, what's up, Melinda? Still trying to work the kinks out. I think I got most of them figured out. No problem. Did I read your question? I tried to do my best, Brewer. I don't remember. I don't remember what the question was. Hopefully, you're not being sarcastic. What's going on, Philip? So, what'd you guys think of that live with the JD? I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed. I really enjoyed hanging out with him. That guy's a wealth of knowledge. I wish his connection had been just a tad better. Um, was it breaking up for you guys as much as it was for me, where it was kind of going and catching on to itself? Especially when he started talking about the stormtrooper. Yeah, he's a smart guy. Very, very nice dude for sure. Turn down your video game to watch. How about that? Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and get him on here because I think this would be that would have been a really good one to have where we could keep it and look back over it. I did record the audio. I'm going to talk with him to see if he's okay with me trying to kind of go through some of that and post parts of it. So I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem with that, but I'll talk to him about it and see. Melinda, if you saw the Stormtrooper as a baby, it really was the Stormtrooper in reverse. That's what's so crazy about it was so white. And then it all changed and got so much darker. Good. I'm glad you guys think so. Man, I tell you, I until I started looking at all of his Xanthic stuff, I was not interested in working Xanthic at all. As you can tell by my name, Morphs of a Different Color. I like colors, so it was a little backwards. But then I started seeing his Xanthic fireflies and his Xanthic fire bees and all that, and I was, oh my goodness, just how amazing. God, Spider in like the Bumblebee stuff in Xanthic is just almost makes me want to do it underground, because there's such a stigma around them. But I tell you, I'm a huge fan of the way that looks. And I know the last time we did the live, we talked about me taking that live chat off. I did figure out kind of how to make it a little cleaner and look a little better. So hopefully that works, because I noticed that there were some people after the fact watched the live and said that they couldn't actually, they didn't, because the comments don't show up, or the chat doesn't show up afterwards. So if I'm not reading off saying, Melinda said I was understanding that he isn't sure what's in the Stormtrooper, then nobody knows what I'm actually saying. So I'm hoping keeping this chat on the side. Number one, hopefully it looks a little better. Hopefully it's a little bigger. And I'm going to continue to kind of work on my presentation on here as far as the layout and stuff, depending on the guests and all. But that's kind of the plan for now. Melinda, you're right. He doesn't know for sure what's in it, and he doesn't have the two males that potentially sired that clutch anymore either. So it's very strange how all of that happened, from the way it sounds like just about everything that you could ask, not to happen. You get this crazy looking animal, then you don't have the sire or either one of the optional sires. So you have two animals that could have sired that clutch, and then beyond that, then you have the fact that it was a slow grower, not a great eater, so it took 4 or 5 years to get to breeding size. And then the dame only throws 2 clutches in 5 years. Like, I don't know how much more a single person can take when they create something that is so transformative, so iconic as he did the Stormtrooper, and then to never, not know or have this long pass to where you still can't even go back and prove out if it's something that's genetic or if it was some sort of fluke. Did I get your text? I didn't, because I wasn't looking at my phone. Let's see. Yeah, Troy, definitely. Let's do it. Skype. If y'all bear with me for a second, then I will start working on making a quick little thing for that to work. So you guys can keep chatting and I'll keep reading it off. I just won't I won't be able to talk quite as much because I'm no good at this yet. So let's see if I can do this. So anybody that didn't catch that, Troy's going to come on with me and hang out for a minute. We have a little fun. So yeah, lots of patience for sure. It's definitely something that I know I would have a hard time with. So let's get, if I can. All right, we're going to do like this. I'm going to bring this guy over. And then I need to add a new one once he comes in. I think that's the only thing I have to do. So let me get my Skype opened on this screen. Okay, I got Skype opened. I'll just have to be ready for the NDI source, and that's it. So I'll call that Troy. Nice. I'm gonna have my first real guest on here. Hopefully it all works, because I don't actually know. I had problems with Brandon yesterday, but hopefully that was a fluke. Let's see. So we're gonna remove that. Okay. So we can hang out until Troy gives me the heads up. Okay. I'm going to take my phone off of Do Not Disturb. My phone automatically goes to Do Not Disturb after 9 because I'm sick of all of you people by this time. I'm kidding. Let's see. Pull up the chat again so I can see it. Look at some comments on what's been going on. Normally I get out of a live like that and I kind of, yep, I did it. 1,700 followers. Good grief. That's nuts. Thank you guys. I know you guys are mostly all following me, so I definitely appreciate the support. This has just been the most exciting social media stuff that I could have ever hoped for. That is crazy. 1,700 in 13 weeks. I'm doing my post for 1700 that I normally do every 100. Hang on, Troy. Give me a second, buddy. All right. Okay. Let me see if I can call him into this. So I'm gonna look up. All right, here we go. Gonna call him in here. All right, you guys might hear some weird stuff happen here in a second, but hang on. Okay, let me grab my headphones and get those plugged in real quick. Hang on real quick, buddy. I gotta set up one more thing. Okay, I gotta plug this up. Quit looking at my butt. Oh, because otherwise, if I don't do this, then it goes all crazy. So let me see. I just got to pull you in here real quick. Let's see. So I got to go. We're doing NDI source. And we're going to create new. Okay. And right there. Okay. And that should bring you in. All right. There you are. And let me shrink you down right here. Take that off. Do like this. All right. Almost there. Almost there. I promise. And boom.
Hey.
All right. So
Can you guys hear me okay?
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. Let's see.
All right. Let me see if I can.
Maybe it's. That's weird. Why don't I hear you? Can you guys hear Troy? Because it's showing that he has sound coming out, which is good.
Yeah, can you
But I
guys
don't
still not
hear
hear?
him. Let me see. I'm gonna shut this down. Close. Close. I was trying this to see.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. You can't hear me though, right?
So I just don't have any sound. What did I do? Do I need to turn these on? Is that why? I can't.
Can you still not hear me,
I
Brandon?
can hear you. Okay. It was my headphones.
Oh, sorry. Okay, because I can't. Yeah, because I can't see the comments to see if people could say they could hear me or not.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, everybody could hear you except for me. So yeah, that's the one thing that I'm gonna have to try and figure out if there's a way that I can get it to where the guest can see the comments. Okay.
Well, I'm on my phone too, man. So like, it's real. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
just really small. So
yeah.
if I was on my computer or something like that, it would be 100 times better.
I wonder if I could. I'll have to try this out. Well, maybe you and I can try another one soon, and I'll shoot you the URL for the chat, and then maybe you can actually just open the chat in your browser, and then you would be able to see it.
Yeah, I thought about grab my laptop instead of my phone, man, just so that maybe it would be better. But
no, this is
I
definitely. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. So, man, this is awesome. I'm excited. Thanks. Like, this is the first official guest of my YouTube live. So,
I don't know. I'm the first official one.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Let's see. I had Brandon on, but it didn't work. So, I couldn't. His volume wasn't working.
Yeah. Hey, man, your live with JD went well, man. What do you think? Were you happy?
Oh, dude, I was ecstatic, man. That was a lot of fun. I wish his audio would have been a little better.
Cutting out from time to time. I heard that too.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was on my side. What would happen is that he'd be talking, and then all of a sudden, it would just speed, and it would catch up really fast. And of course, it started happening when he was talking about the Stormtrooper, and so I caught the gist of it. And I think most people did. But Melinda asked, she said, on average, how many snakes do you pick up in a year to get where you are now? Melinda, I picked up every one of mine -1 since November. So,
yeah, and I can answer that, Brandon. Like, there's been times where I've went a whole year without buying anything, which is like super crazy.
Yeah.
But that's a tough question, because I think that depends on what you want to build to too. Like, do you want 200 snakes? Do you want 20 snakes?
Right.
Like, I think that's a tough one. This year I think I've bought more snakes in the past probably 12 months or so than I have in the past 7 years. And that was all stuff that I wanted to key in on a project or something. So
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the only reason at this point that I am, because I kind of thought that I was done buying stuff for a while, and then I end up finding this other project that I want to work, and I think part of it too is just, I was telling this because R&B did a little virtual tour of my collection on Saturday. So that's gonna be on their YouTube probably another week, which I still got to get him the B-roll stuff. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Ben, if you're watching this, or if you come on and see this after the fact, I promise I haven't forgot about you. I'm gonna try and get that taken care of tomorrow. But basically, the kind of the thought is that I was not expecting to kind of to have the response that I've had on here. So it kind of puts me in a position where it's like, okay, so do I need to produce faster than I was originally expecting to? Because like, I look back at the plan where I bought all these really nice single gene stuff, the exact kind of gene that I wanted, and then like, here I am kind of growing quicker than I expected. I don't know if my headphones are going to crap out on me. These really nice things that, yeah, I can't hear you anymore. Great. Let me see if I can. How many plugs can I put into my head? I know the second I take you off that it's going to cause all kinds of problems. Let's see what it does, guys. Just bear with me. I'm going to see how bad this is. Say something, Troy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think they can hear you. It's me that's going to be the problem. So I'm going to turn your volume way down just to where I can kind of hear you a little bit. It seems as though those really nice headphones don't even work with a cable unless the battery's charged, and I didn't realize that. So, but yeah, so kind of, it's like, all right, well, I've got all these followers and I've got this kind of good thing going on social media, and in 3 years I'll be producing banana pastels. Right on. And
cooler stuff than that.
I will. I'm being a little facetious, but I'll be producing more or less like 2 and 3 gene snakes, and so it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, I kind of wish I'd have gone a little bit different route. So I start throwing a little more money into it, more as an investment. I know I'll get it back, so it's okay. But we were pretty excited this week.
Yeah, to touch on that, Brandon, I once heard Snakebites TV guy. His name's escaping me.
Snakebites?
Yeah.
Brian?
Brian. Yeah, thank you. Jeez, I can't think tonight. Anyways, he was talking about, he was talking one time, and it was a good point about, people that bought into the Banana Project for $50K.
Right.
Like, then the next year they were $4K, and then months later they were $400, right? And his point was, like, too many people, bail and just take it as a loss instead of just, maybe you have to sell a couple hundred of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, like, the point. So just a little tidbit.
Yeah. Well, it broke up good and shut off for most of the point.
Oh, did I break up?
Yeah. So the point is, and that's just a little tidbit. That's all I got.
Well, that's pretty funny. Well, whatever. We'll work the kinks out on this.
Yeah. No, it's all good. We had something pretty exciting happen this week with our little project that we're working. We got a lock with the leopard.
Yeah. Have you had any more?
No, I took him out, and I'm gonna go ahead and try and feed him tomorrow, and then I'm gonna give him a day or two, and then I'm gonna put him back with it again. I'm still debating if I want to put it to the Blade Clown, which I think I'm okay with it, even if it's dual sired, because I don't have to worry about if it's gonna be 100% het clown or anything, because the fact that it's going to a clown, so I don't have to worry about not being able to sell something as known. It'll definitely have Blade in it. It'll just be, will I be able to tell the other genes, which if I can't tell the difference between Nanny and Hurricane and Pastel and Black Pastel, then I've got problems.
Well, man, I'll tell you, dude, there's been times where I've looked at stuff and I'm like, I don't know. So there's definitely times where you think like you have a handle on genes, and then they start, integrating with other things, and you just, it's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. It can definitely be a little confusing, I'm sure. Again, and I know once they come out the egg, it's a lot different than everything else.
Just say hi to the wonderful world of snake breeding people.
Hey,
Michael walked in and is joining me. Wants to ask me a question. What do you want to ask me while I'm on a live?
Am I about to cut your connection if I get on the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, don't get on the Wi-Fi right now.
Yeah. What do you think you're doing, teenager? God. No.
Yeah, kid's dumb. I won't be that long. You're fine.
Yeah. So it looks like we got a couple more people in here. Hey, Emily and Xfinity. What did you think about Christina? What did you think about the stuff with JD? Xfinity is really heavy into some Exanthic stuff. In fact, that was one that I posted earlier today. If you noticed, that really nice. I assume it was. I know it was a Exanthic pastel, but it kind of, I don't know if it was a B or not. But you're small and cute, but I'll fight you. Okay, well that's really nice. Thank you. I'm glad that you'll fight me. And the shirt is fitting. I know, it's I want it to be part of Iowa. That's why I did this today.
That's a perfect shirt.
No, it's black and white. It fixed the whole Exanthic stuff, and that that was probably one of my most enjoyable lives, other than the one that we did and the one that I did with Billy. I'm not gonna lie, that that dude is very smart, and man,
Yeah, I think like it would be cool. So I don't know what you can all do with YouTube Live, man, but like if it has a feature like Zoom where you could have, 4 or 5
I can,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be really neat to get like Billy and JKR and JD and like just some of the guys we're all looking up to. And instead of having like, one live or whatever with each one of them, I think being able to let them answer off of each other would be so much more like of a learning value to people to be able to hear it coming. That way they can answer it because they're all going to have a different opinion, but they're all still intelligent people and they're all leaders in our industry. So I think if that's an idea that you can do, man, I would do it.
Emily's offended that she's not in my top 3. Can I have 4 in my top 3? Is that okay? To be fair, whatever happened with Troy this last week, I went from 1,350 followers last Sunday to 1,700 now. I broke 1,700 while I was in that live. That is awesome, insane, man. Dude. Like, it's just crazy. So
that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm super stoked about is that I'm seeing. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was a killer bee. I knew it. Man, what a beautiful snake, Christina. That's just beautiful. But what I'm stoked to see is that like I'm seeing a lot more lives from the guys that were coming into my lives. Like right now, I just was checking and Tom with Atypical is on with Niviel, and she just hit 1,000, and which just blows my mind that she's only at 1,000 because they've got such good content. But
media accounts isn't like as easy as it used to be either. Like people that should have a ton of followers, like with algorithms and all that stuff, man. It used to be, you could start a Facebook page 4 or 5 years ago and have 15,000 people follow you in a matter of a couple days.
Yeah, but once they went public, it made it way harder.
Yeah, their algorithms, and it's same with Instagram and everything else. So it does suck when you see somebody that has, wonderful animals that are, photographed well, and then you look at their account and you're like, oh, why does this person only have 1,000 or 500? Like they should have 1 million, And so I think, again, as I said the other night during our live, I really think that we have to build each other up, man. And I think it's share somebody's account, share their account. Like if you get them an extra follower, like that's one more person, and maybe that person gets them a couple, and it just builds from there. So I believe in sharing as much as possible.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like when I was when I did Tinley Underground and I met Troy with Balls and Strikes. He comes up to me and I was like, dude, let's get a picture. We talked for a while, posted the picture on there, and then like 2 minutes after I posted the picture, Billy from Mutation Creation goes and likes or follows him. And he was like, dude, you did that. I said, no, I didn't. You did that, man. Like you're the snake guy. All I did was say that I met you. I mean, that's I didn't do anything. Like
it feels good to have like that that verification or whatever you want to say, like from people that you're following, whether it be a Miguel or a Justin or whatever. I think it's really neat when those guys that have a billion things to do, they're raising beautiful collections, and they take time to like post that, guys like me and you and people who are watching this. Like I think it's neat that those guys take the time to make us feel good.
Oh, for sure, man. And that's what, like when I was like before I did the live with Billy, I was like, hey man, so did you put any thought into this? Like I had sent him all these questions and stuff I wanted to ask him, and I didn't realize quite how ADD he was, And so I had like this whole professional thing written out, and then he's like, hey, here's my number, give me a call. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to call, Billy Rose. Like this is nuts. And so
I love that you just brought up like the ADD thing, man. Like I saw his post the other day. I'm happy that he opens up. It's unfortunate that somebody, quote unquote, picked on the poor guy, right? Like somebody called him like a crackhead or some shit. And, and it forces him to have to open up and talk about, the things he, fights on a daily basis, man. And I applaud him for that. Like, I think that's absolutely awesome that he can open up and tell people about your demons or things that are flawed in your life, and he embraces it, and I think that's awesome. So a little shout out to him for that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's just so much that he doesn't have to do, like what you're saying. He doesn't have to do all that stuff, and he says, if I can use my platform and I go through and I look at somebody's feed and I see that they're posting regularly and it's snakes and it's all of this stuff, that's within our hobby, within our community, then I'm definitely gonna follow them. And if it takes me just clicking on something like a like, or if they comment, they mention me in a story and all I got to do is hit one button, hit repost, and it makes their day. Like, that's just the best feeling in the world. And
I think
it's so true.
Or somebody new joins your, when you get somebody that does 15 likes or something, right? Like, you can tell they just followed you and they went through your photos and they took the time to like the ones they did, and people screen capture that and share it. Man, I think that's so awesome. I just did one the other day and I haven't shared it yet, but I felt, the girl liked 27 photos of mine. Like, that takes time, right? She took the time to do it. Like, I want to thank her by, sending her a little shout out. So again, I think anytime you can positively reinforce each other and share, that's what we should be doing.
No doubt. Yeah. I've been really bad about that lately. And even with the stickers, man, I've got all these stickers that I haven't posted yet on my stories, because I always do when I get them in. I haven't posted them yet. And god dang it, if I'm not so far behind on sending stickers out. All I got to do is put stamps on them at this point. I printed the labels out. I just have to put them on there. But this YouTube, busting into YouTube and these lives, and I was just telling my family, I said, I really think that I'm going to slow down and probably stick to 3 lives a week, because it's a lot. I mean, I enjoy it. I love it.
I've felt that way, and I don't think I've ever even shared that with you, Brandon, on a phone call or something. But I've always felt like at some point you're going to have to cut it back, right? Like family and house projects and work and just taking care of things. Like, I love that you have the will and the desire to want to do this damn near every day. But at some point, right, you have to cut it back, and I certainly hope that. I hope you continue to do it, and I hope you continue to do it in a time frame that's good for you and your family.
Yeah, and I think for the most part it is. I think the struggle comes in with this, with the quarantine that we find ourselves in, and I can't really get on a schedule, and the other thing is that I don't want to say no to people. So when people say that they want to do a live with me, then I don't want to tell them no, because I mean, these other people are doing it for me.
Sure.
And so it's Emily, I really don't think that you have to worry about me burning out with it. It's I don't think that that's going to be the issue. I think what it is that I don't want to become something where I'm not having anything to talk about. So when I get on a live with, I love doing the live every week that I do with Brandon and Dave. I love those. But now we've been doing it for 6 or 7 weeks. And so when it comes time to do the next one, we're like, what do you want to talk about? And so me and Dave are kind of in the same boat, where we're waiting on our first, ovulations, waiting on our first eggs and all that stuff. So we literally have nothing to talk about there. And Brandon has more that he can talk about, which is good. But still, we kind of, this sort of live works as kind of an after party deal. But I don't know, maybe people just like hearing me talk, and maybe people just like being around us, but I don't want to just wear people out with talking about nothing.
Well, there's a tough part. The other side of that too, I think, Brandon. Like I have a podcast that's not snake related or photography related. Like I talk to people about things they've overcome in life. Just cancer or depression or suicide. Like, and I've had some pretty cool talks with some people. So like the two hard parts I think I find on that are finding people that are willing to continue to do this, right? Like finding people that will take the time to be on a live or a podcast, and two, having stuff to talk about. Like that's always going to be a problem, I think. And I think on the backside of that, though, even for you guys, like when you and Brandon talk, I don't care if the two of you guys for an hour talk about ice cream, but at the last minute, you guys say something about IE snake this that. That's like, oh, I learned something, right? Like if people, even through the quote unquote BS of just buddies talking on one of these things like we're doing right now, maybe somewhere in there's a nugget for somebody, and they take that nugget, man, and it cures their whatever it is that they had to they were conquering in a snake world. But
yeah, and because I think there's only so much that can be said on that, and I could talk snakes, like I said, all day long. I can, but I kind of talk about the same stuff all the time. So because what projects am I working on? What projects do I want to get into? Well, I want to get into all of them. Let's be real. But it's not always something that's feasible, and that's kind of where it comes in. And I'm seeing these comments. I'm trying to get this thing set up, so I'm not ignoring anybody.
A question or anything that we can chat about, I certainly happy to. I can say this, man. I'm trying out something a little new in the snake room. In all of my CB70s, I went to the cardboard, like they're from TSK. Fit right in there. I'm a ReptiChip guy. I love my ReptiChip. The one thing that like I have a hard time with is like, I don't know how to put this maybe really in good words. Like the hardest thing I find with me using my ReptiChip is I don't know when a good time for me to replace it all is versus just like scooping out turds and pee area and stuff like that. I'm so back in the day, like I used Aspen. I was an Aspen guy, and so I would just dump it and I would just replace it because Aspen was so cheap.
Yeah.
And so I'm in that mindset. So then I switched to ReptiChip, and I try to do a really good job of spot cleaning when I can. I'm not perfect. And so I'm like, you know what? In these CB70s, I know guys that have done this for 20 and 30 years that have done nothing but newspaper.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm just going to try these cardboard things to see how it works. And then my other half of my room, like all of my other stuff, my 32 quarts and, my hatchling rack, like all of that is still on ReptiChip. And so it'll be interesting just to see how it goes. I literally just got done last night, like at midnight, getting them all switched out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to go. When I had the mites problem, I guess 6 or 8 weeks ago, whatever it was, where I had two of mine end up with having some mites. I immediately took everybody off of ReptiChip, and kind of put them on paper, and I've kept them on that to this point. I do plan, like the ones that are breeding, I put back on ReptiChip just because I prefer to have that environment right for them.
When you say mites, are you talking like black mites, like legitimately mites, or are you talking like white wood mites?
No, they're little black mites. Yeah, I had the two that had them. I pulled them out, put them. They are quarantined, and I haven't had any other issues since. So. I don't know. It was right after I got back from Arlington, matter of fact. But I definitely noticed that the smell is way different when you don't have them on chip. So, but yeah, no, it was, I haven't had any left, and I still haven't brought them back into the room just because I'm super OCD about that crap,
Yeah. Do you think you picked up mites from a show? Do you think you got it snakes you bought and they shipped in? Do you think it's...
So it had to have been from a show, because at that point I had never had anything shipped in. So, everything I had bought before that was in person. And I've even on the ones that I saw, I never saw more than, I think one of them had like 3 and the other one had 1. And of course I went through and I bathed all of them all at the time, however many I had. And then when I bring new ones in, I make sure that I throw them in a bath, just to see. But
I've never dealt with like legit black snake mites. I've had mites, like little white mites, that I was like freaking out about, and I actually called John Dagg, and Dagg was like, "What are you keeping them on?" And I was like, "Aspen," and he was like, "They're a wood mite." And so then I kind of got looking into it, and it still freaked me out. Like, nobody wants any bugs on anything, right? Like, you just don't. It's scary.
And it very well could be. I'm not even positive. Like I said, I did on one of them. It was underneath one of the scales when I found it. So that was the only thing that made me think that it was definitely snake mites. But yeah, I don't know. I've dealt with them before, back, years and years ago.
Well, I was just gonna say that, man. Like, I think if you do this for any amount of time, like, knock on wood, man, I haven't had any. But I think if you do it long enough, you ordering snakes online, you're buying snakes at shows, you're vending at shows. I think you're gonna at some point probably come across it, And I think about it for me, Brandon, speaking of our industry, is it's such a like a bad subject, and I think people feel that if they bring it up, they're going to be blackballed.
Sure.
And and really, man, it's a deal, it's a thing. Like, I think you want to take care of it somewhat, not secretly, but like I think if you're upfront, like you openly said, like, "Hey, man, I had these couple snakes with mites." That doesn't scare me, right? Like, again, I can catch these things anywhere. And so, again, our industry needs to quit coming down on people. It's not your fault you got them.
Yeah,
it's not like you.
I'm not a bad keeper. Yeah.
It's a shit deal. That's what it comes down to. And I think, again, people shouldn't beat people up about it. And so I'm happy that you're honest about it and willing to talk about it. And because there's going to be people on these lives, man, especially if they're new, they're going to come across it, and I'm sure they're scared to ask when they see people getting beat up on Facebook or whatever it is. And so I know there's a lot of YouTube videos on different snake problems, RI or whatever. And I had RI in a rack, like, I'm trying to think here, this would be like 4 years ago, and I was freaking out, man. Like, I thought it was end of the world.
Wow.
And again, I had a couple bigger name breeders, and they were like, "Dude, everybody gets RI." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, if you got every snake breeder to be honest, they would tell you, like, calm down, take a breath." I mean, I was like on the phone, like almost in tears, man, like freaking out. And they walked me through it, and I talked to a vet, and it was fine. And actually in the rack, like, I thought these like 6 or 7 animals all had it, and literally I had one snake in the rack that actually had it. And so, again, I think if you deal with snakes long enough, you're going to come across something.
Yeah, and that was like the first thing I did and that's kind of what started with these educational lives, is that I told Dave, I said, I want to do one on quarantine. I want us to do one on that, and the reason is because of things like this. I know mites is only one reason to do it, but and there's such a stigma around mites, like what you're saying. You just get bashed to hell, and I've got enough confidence and integrity to say, yeah, I mean, it happened, and I don't know where it happened from. I do practice quarantine. It was not because of anything that I was doing wrong. In fact, I had them in quarantine for a full, I had 5 weeks, so 35 days, and came out of quarantine, and a week later, mites were on her. And I was like, wow, well, that's awesome, you know? And so then we go and I don't know again if it came from her or if it came from me going into my snake room after Arlington. It could have been either way.
Yeah, I've heard. Again, I would never throw breeders' names out there just because some of them don't want to be known in that realm, right? But like I've had plenty of conversations where they said, "Hey, I left, X show and never have had mites, and I came home and putting snakes away, and here I have a mite or two or something." And it's interesting. I know a lot of breeders that it shows they spray some mite stuff around their table. That can be a little frowned upon, I think, 'cause you got people trying to sell bugs and stuff,
Yeah.
and so that can be dangerous. I think everybody has to practice this, as safe as possible. And so there's a lot of times, like Lisa, my wife, who never likes to be on these things, but she kind of hates like letting people hold snakes and stuff at shows.
Oh yeah.
And you try to be safe about it, like, hey, put this, the antibacterial soap or whatever you want to say, wipe that down first. Oh, thank you. Here's the snake. I still think there's a point of danger there, right? Like maybe it's on their clothes.
Sure.
Maybe they're just, I hate to say dirty people or something, but there's obviously people out there that don't take good care of maybe themselves or animals or whatever. And shows I think are risky, man. I think there's always a part of me that's really nerved out, like vending, because I would hate to come home with 60 animals and all of a sudden think I have a bad case of mites or something because I picked it up at a show.
Right. I mean, who's gonna go and set up an entire quarantine for their show animals when they come back home? You know what I mean? Like that's almost what it comes down to, because
I think there are some protocols and stuff. I think people, and I'll be honest about mine. Like, when we take animals, I don't try to spray at the show, but I know ahead of time. Like, I think that it's somewhat valuable to do so. So, I spray my liners, and then I just let them sit out overnight before a show, and then that way they're not like real toxic or anything. But that way, maybe there's like a bit of a step of prevention, I hope. And then when they come back, before I come home, typically I'll have my son go down and then just pull all their tubs and just give everything like a really quick, like, little spray.
Right.
Just again, to try to prevent anything that I'm going to bring home. So, oh, my camera's doing something weird.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's odd. I don't know what happened.
Maybe let me see if it's. Oh, hold on. Did you switch to a different view or something or no?
I didn't.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm bringing you back to real life. Hang on. Let's see.
Hey, there I am.
Yeah, it got really big. I don't know why. But yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I'm always going to be very transparent when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's it doesn't do anything but make the community better, because I mean, yeah, you're gonna get them. It's gonna happen one way or the other. The only way that you're not is if you never introduce anything to your thing and you only sell online. Like that's the only chance that you really have at not getting them.
What's in our comment section? Anything good in the comment section?
So let's see. If we go back a little while, it looks like Emily had said when we were talking about me getting burnt out or whatever, makes sense. Maybe not in every week, then maybe more once every 2 weeks or an after party. Some of us will always be around, so maybe that's the after party crowd then. And I agree with that. I think there are definitely some people that are always down with hanging out, always ready to party. And yeah, I was thinking about that too, Emily, as far as like trying to maybe bring those lives to once every 2 weeks so that we have a little more content there, because I have to save something for YouTube. I mean, I really do. And I thought about trying to get some of maybe do the ones like with John Daig today on YouTube, or I don't want to lose a lot of my people on Instagram. I don't want them to think that I've moved on, because that's not what it is. But
do you go to like edited video too, not just live? Like you can sit down and video somebody at a show or something in a hotel room and then just post it as content later?
Oh yeah, like honestly, this whole thing we're doing here, I'm recording it also. So if we weren't going live right now, like I could set it up to where the two of us did an interview back and forth or a podcast style, and then I could release this onto YouTube as I could go do post editing and everything and then release it. So I still have that option with this as well. So, and then Christina said, I can't imagine your lives with B2 ever getting old. I think they will always be entertaining. And that's probably true. They will be fun.
He's a good dude, man. I really look forward to getting to maybe hang out in person with that guy.
Yeah. He's special.
Well, us GE guys, we're kind of special.
That's true. Always making me feel bad for actually graduating. Thanks a lot. And then
in class,
let's see some things. Some of us will, or what was it? Emily had said, I don't know when to do a full change of Pro Coco. So much debate on it. I think as long as it's not moldy and it doesn't stink, you can spot clean. I know some people.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, pulling back to that whole conversation, with my Repti chip in my hatchling racks, I use the really, what are they, V15s? I think they're the really skinny, longer, little tubs. I think it's called a V15. Those I typically just dump and change because I'm not out a lot of bedding or whatever at that point. So and everything else are holdback racks and stuff. I try to spot clean for a couple weeks and then I just typically change it. I think the only way that would ever change for me is if it's a financial thing where I need to get more out of the life of it. Right now, it's just every 2 or 3 weeks. I've spot cleaned 2 or 3 times. I just dump it and go.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine comes to, like I said, I made it sound, I think I overcomplicated a little bit. I do it probably once every 6 weeks or so. And I haven't had any issues with that. It's worked well for us.
You could reach out to JT, man, and probably get JT to do one of these.
I could. I'm pretty confident that I could get him to come on and do one of these with me. He would be another interesting one to do this with.
Especially for the fact that JT can talk. He's got beautiful
animals,
does. Right? But the owner of Repti Chip. And here's the thing, I had a really good conversation with JT, and I hope I'm not putting words in his mouth here, but JT told me if there was 100 bark companies out there, he would sit down with every one of them because he believes the same thing like I do as far as building your industry. You can only make it better by sharing info, right? And so he's very open, and I think he's very knowledgeable in that, whatever you want to say, that type of betting, being from a wherever, he knows his stuff. And I think it'd be interesting for people to hear his thoughts and what he thinks it should be, how it should be maintained, and the moisture content and stuff like that. Because I think all of us do it differently. And you've heard me say this, and I'll say it 100 times, there's your way and my way. But I think JT could probably at least put a level in between that and be, and tell people this is what we think works best.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So then, Morph Mechanics did say having a large collection and getting mites is hell. Shows are mite breeding grounds, and I definitely agree with all of that. It can be hell, but to me, it's just about when you get, if it's within your main collection, you treat the whole collection. You have to, because
I think I haven't experienced, the black mite, but when I had the white wood mites, it was in I don't know, probably a couple racks that I noticed. And so I got rid of all the aspen throughout the entire room. We wiped everything down. We cleaned everything. We went to paper. Throughout the whole room. And that's a big change when you're used to just dumping a product and then throwing it back in. Now it was making sure this paper was nice or using paper towels. Yeah. And so I think for a couple weeks, and then we got rid of the white mites. And then I went back to using aspen, which what I was using, just to bring, I think, added context to this, is I was buying the premium horse bedding from like a fleet
Right.
farm. So
Yeah,
I
like
don't know
Tractor Supply.
how far,
Yeah.
like a Tractor Supply. And so I got them again, and I was like, oh my god, like what's going on here? And so I had some talks with some people, and they like really filled me in on like how these mites, kind of breed, I guess. And so we went through the room again, doused everything, really cleaned everything, and then I never went back to Aspen. I stayed on paper for a while, and then I went to ReptiChip, and I really haven't had any issues with anything. I think I saw a post like somebody was trying to claim that they got mites from ReptiChip or from Cocoa Bark or something like that, and like everybody was like, "You're an idiot." And so there was some good points on there about like people talking about, well, if you bought it at a pet store and that pet store is not
If they were
clean
sitting
or
on the
whatever.
floor somewhere, yeah.
Right, like so I could see where like maybe there is some transfer, but like I think if I ever saw that claim or somebody wanted to start an argument with me that they got it from a certain kind of bark, or whatever, I would probably tell them that they're wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you, and of course, that's one of the things that does roll through your mind, like when you're trying to figure it out, and you can overanalyze the hell out of it. I mean, it's just one of those things where you don't quite know. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with your camera and why it keeps moving on me.
Once in a while, like it'll show my
Yeah.
head and then it shows my tip, and then
Hang on. All right.
back.
I'm just having to keep redesign you on the studio side of it. So yeah, you start overanalyzing. It's really easy to do that. It's really easy to be like, oh man, it was because I came into the room and maybe I passed gas close to one of them and it caused a big problem. I don't know. Maybe it's from me. Oh God, did I touch this one snake and then touch the other one? And then you start thinking, oh, well, that's when you just take care of all of them and just be done with it. So that you're not, okay, well, I know I handled this one and this one. No, just give all of them a 30-minute water bath at least, just to see what happens. And if you get any bugs on them, then you go the extra step with the Dawn in there for, to cause the surface tension and helps with all that. And I did that. Though for the ones that didn't have any mites, I still did it every weekend for them, and just the water and to make sure that I didn't see any new bugs, because on dark snakes it's really hard to tell.
I could only. I mean, I'm lucky. Oh,
I
look,
know,
my camera
it's
did
so
something weird
crazy
again.
what it's doing.
I feel like I have a little bit of luck as far as, I mean, my majority of my collection is pieds. I mean, I have a ton of pieds, and so I have a lot of white snakes. So I feel like it'd be somewhat easier for me. I have a really crazy banana. It's a black pewter banana that's either Spectre yellow belly, or one or the other. And like, dude, it's probably one of the prettiest animals I have. But it the way it's freckled out with those black spots, like when I first got into
Yeah.
banana, and then you start to see the spots come. Like I was like, holy shit, what's going on here? And then you learn that it's a banana trait, right? Like they get these little black spots. But I would think for somebody that didn't look their snake over, like you could hide some mites in a banana pretty
Oh, for
quickly.
sure.
And so that's a scary morph, I think, when it comes to looking for stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Let's see. So then, what about the GED stuff? Emily said, "Hey, I'm more than graduated. Don't judge." And then I responded with, "I'm with you, Emily." And then Christina said, "I have a master's in school counseling. I'm trying to learn more every day about ball pythons and breeding. And that B2 and Troy, who both have GEDs, could teach me so much about all of these topics and way more." So
I was just she's becoming a school counselor. I've shared many hours in many counselors' offices. I feel like I should be able to just be one by the hours I spent in those
Right.
things. But I certainly did the best. And whether it's ball python talk she wants to do, I'm an open book. Or she wants to talk about troubled teens or something that she's gonna have to deal with, I'm a pretty open book as
yeah,
well.
she's working really heavy in the TSK line as well. So she's got some really, really nice stuff. She's in Colorado.
John would have talked more tonight about the true ghost side of stuff. So I made a comment as he was talking. I've been at John's place, as I said before, dozens of times, and he has a true ghost there, man, that is just phenomenal. How bluish, I don't know, bluish greenish it is, and I always kind of thought like, oh, true ghost and hypo and ghost, like it's all the same thing, right? That's my thought. It's not. Um, and the reason I would say that is just the differences between what I see in hypo being kind of a goldish, ghosty color or something in some animals versus this true ghost, how kind of bluish and whatnot it
Right.
looks. And so I first saw that at John's, and then at Pomona, I went over to TSK's table, and man, they had, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 true ghost animals, babies for sale. So, and again, like John was saying, like how great animals look as babies. If you would have taken that to any other table and put it next to anybody that has something labeled ghost or hypo, would blow it out of the water. And that's one thing I would like to get into is some true ghost stuff. And I think for me, it'll be true ghost tri-stripes. That's probably where I'll head in that
By
direction.
true ghost, are you talking more orange ghost?
See, man, so there's true ghost, there's orange ghost, there's, people didn't just say hypo.
Right.
Some people just, I know as far as what I know, right? So when I say true ghost, I can only put that then to what the animal looks like. So in John's case, John's animal is very like, bluish in color. And I think when I see things labeled orange ghost or hypo, I feel like they are a muted orangish whatever. So I think there's a difference somewhere in those animals.
Right.
I don't know, and again, I'm not like a gene scientist or anything like that. Like I can only go off of what I visually have seen, and then tie the name of that animal. And so TSK and John and
True.
There's a couple other people. JSA, I think JSA has some true
True
ghost
ghost
stuff.
is hypoxanthic. That's what I've got 2 people in chat saying right now.
Yeah, that could very well be. The way TSK put it to me that day is that they were just a true ghost. So again, I don't want to say like I'm talking the right thing here. Again, I'm a visual guy, right? So I can see it. And the questions I asked, they never said that to me, so that could very well be. I've never even asked John that.
Yeah,
like,
I'll definitely ask and I'll update you guys.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'll probably send John even a text tonight and ask him that. Like, I want to say, like, even thinking back to his label, that it just says True Ghost. But interesting.
All right.
See, something
That's
new.
it. Yeah. Well, guys, I think I'm going to call it. I got to get these kids tucked in and get ready for work in the morning. But I really appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us. And Troy, I'm stoked that you wanted to come on and hang out with me over here.
Yeah, well, I felt bad that you looked like you were just hanging out by yourself, and I'm not doing shit.
Yeah,
so.
man. No, for sure. I definitely appreciate it. I'm trying to get these. You got to get certain numbers before I can be youtube.com/morphs of a different color. Like there's like all this stuff that I got to do, and so I'm trying to hit that if I can. So if you guys aren't following me or subscribe, I got to get that down too. The difference, like. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, right? So that you know when I go live, and then you can hop on with me here. But I definitely appreciate you guys following me in here for another hour.
How much control in this deal that the OBS that you're using? Does it let you put like the little subscribe flashy thing on the screen and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I can do all kinds of stuff. So like this is one that I have. Like again, this is I don't have a whole lot of stuff on it yet, but I've got this one here that I was working on for when I do my live with Brandon, to where you can find us on there. And if you look at the bottom, like I created a little ticker at the bottom, right? So how it just scrolls through saying to follow me on there and subscribe and stuff. And then I created this little thing that's on my actual YouTube. So like if I need to like pick my nose or something, I can do that and you can't see me. So, and then even, I believe I can even, so I just muted you. So you couldn't even hear me. so I can do that. And basically I can create all kinds of different things with this, and I don't know how I'm only limited by like I guess Skype pretty much as far as like how many people I can bring on. But I can do stuff where I can share like my secondary screen that's over here. Like if we're doing like a class or something, then I can show a screen or a diagram or something like that. Like, oh, we're gonna talk Punnett Squares today, and I can bring up a bunch of Punnett Square stuff. And it's a really and it's all open source. So for me, like being someone who's coded and programmed and built this kind of stuff for since I was making HTML websites when I was 13 years old. And so I've been doing this stuff for over 20 years. So it scares a lot of people. So they do like the StreamYard and all because it's really simple. But this to me is like, I can make this look however I want. And I can stand out, and this is the stuff that all the gamers are using. And the gamers, their streams get like such big viewerships, because they have the lights behind them like this and the really cool setups like this. And so, yes, Mary, I am on Skype right now. That's what, I'm not on Skype. I have Troy on Skype with me. I'm actually just in the live feed. So, yeah, so Troy's not on the live with me. He's a visitor on the live with me, if that makes sense. So I gotta go back to this where it was main, and then see, you got messed up again somehow. So
I moved around, so might be me.
It's all good. And like I said, so you can get you back again at least like that. But yeah, like I can, if we're having like this big back and forth, I can do one where it's almost like all Troy on the screen when he's talking, and then just have it to where I'm up in the corner and then like back and forth, so you can do it like that, or if there's like two of us, almost like how
like Zoom works that way, and like GoToMeeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's very similar to the way that Reptiles Unplugged do their interviews as well too. So, but no, I'm looking forward to trying more of this stuff because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I do like the fact that they stick around longer. So thank you, Mary, for pushing me. That she did show up in the last 20 minutes or so. And
well, I think good people, man. Like I've heard from a few of them and had some small conversations with them, and certainly enjoy it, man. I think you got some good people following.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I really do. I'm very thankful, very grateful for the subscribers that or the followers and the subscribers. I'm gonna get this all jacked up all the time now because I wasn't a social media guy before any of this, so I don't even know. I'm saying the wrong stuff constantly now. When I was trying to do my little video for YouTube, I was like, I'm everybody knows me from my YouTube lives, and I'm like, I don't do YouTube lives yet. Like, what am I? They're Instagram lives. Like, what the heck?
That's funny.
But anyway, yeah, cool deal. Well,
can I share a funny story with you before I go? All right, I said titties earlier, right? So now it's been in the back of my head the whole time.
And it just froze on you with saying titties. Oh, God.
Oh, there we go. I thought like it froze for a second.
It did.
Okay, cool. Well, so anyways, I get off this plane. I get on the tram, like heading from the, like one part of the airport to the other. And it's me and Lisa. And then this like lady that I've never met, right, standing next to me. And so I'm wearing this shirt. It's probably too small for me, and I'm fat. And so I'm holding onto the rail, right? And I'm looking in the glass, and I kind of start laughing to myself. And like Lisa kind of looks at me, and I kind of look at the lady, and I look at my reflection in the thing again, and I was like, I need a bra, dude. My titties are like jingling. And so my boobies were like moving, right? Like, and this lady next to me, dude, I'm not lying, like almost went down on all fours, ready to like pee herself in laughter.
God. That's awesome, man.
That's my funny. So I'm gonna go make chocolate chip cookies and get a
And
little
some
Chuck
milk, right?
Oh hell yeah!
Man. Yeah, cool deal. Well, all right, guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Thanks a lot, Troy.
Thanks, buddy. I'll
All
see you
right,
guys.
bye. All right, guys. I'm gonna take off. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for. Is it gonna let me type? No. See y'all later.